Hey everybody, Kevin Smith back with more Tesla Vision Model Y.
Welcome to our first drive on FSD Beta 10.3.1. We'll start navigating out of the neighborhood as we add in our first destination. I will try to loop things around town, kind of see different areas we're familiar with to see how the performance compares to the FSD Beta 10.2. This is 10.3.1, a minor update to fix the automated emergency braking issue they were having, and hopefully they fixed the corruption issue that was disabling auto steer and traffic aware cruise control as well. So here we are going to my lunch break. Pretty nice day, pretty nice day. So right here we've got our late entry into the turn lane. One of our kind of ongoing issues is sometimes it gets over immediately whenever the turn lane's available. Other times it waits to the very last minute to get over. And in most scenarios like this, where there's not a lot of traffic, it's not a big deal. But when there's any congestion or traffic at all, it quickly becomes a big deal. So we do want to see improvements on how it handles getting into turn lanes and identifies them. And a bigger issue sometimes is getting out of them when it shouldn't be in them. Sometimes it just likes to stick in the lane until the very end and then panic. So as a beta tester, watch out for that. But definitely something they'll address in time, nothing they can't manage. Here, nice handling, getting into this turn lane and then following through as we wait. 10.2, sometimes it would get a little antsy and want to go around some of these cars, not sure that they were actually waiting at the light, I guess. But it was pretty stable here, didn't have any issues. Go through the turn. And this little back road on 10.2, I didn't like the handling of it. There were a lot of stutters and slowdowns because of some repaired areas of the asphalt. And just it was kind of squirrely a little bit, so I would always back down the speed on this road a little bit. No need on 10.3.1. Very smooth all the way through. The shadows and the concrete patches or asphalt patches didn't give it any issues. Didn't have any at all. Go up here, another turn lane issue. Handled clean and nice. Didn't get quite into it as much as I'd like, so I kind of nudged it forward, just because I wanted to make sure the cars could go to my right. I don't have to, but I just don't want to get clipped by somebody trying to get kind of ballsy. So we go through our protected left turn, and then we'll navigate down under the bridge, and I'll reroute to the next destination to continue our journey. So the 10.3 automatic emergency braking issue, these things happen, and it's a beta software, so I don't mind that they had an issue and they pushed out a workaround to help alleviate the concerns so there weren't any more safety issues out of it. But I really can't emphasize enough that they needed to communicate during that process. I've picked up what I know or don't know or presume off of social media and things like that, but there's been absolutely zero communication with me via email or otherwise about the updates. That just a new update shows up and I can install it or figure out what it does or not. There's no difference in the change logs or notes. There's no mention of the AEB issue in the 10.3.1 release notes. I would have no idea what the issue was, or anything about it from any communication that came from Tesla. I only know because of social media. That's not the best look in my eyes. This was a safety related issue, and I really think that you did the proper actions on getting the fix out there, the workaround out there, and now the fix. But you gotta communicate. This is a huge communication failure. In any case, here we are at the stoplight, gonna take left, and then we'll need to get over because we do have a turn coming up to the right. Multiple times in this 10.2, it had issues with the turn lane coming up. So number one, it doesn't ever get over till real late, but it gets over nicely there. And then right here, this turn lane, it just sometimes it'll turn on its turn signal and just it won't ever get over into the turn lane. It'll turn straight from the main road if I let it. And typically I just either let it or I disengage and get over into the turn lane myself. Or if there's no car there, then I may let it. But definitely prefer to disengage there. I had issues in 10.2 the first time coming through here. Again, it was real antsy and wanted to pass cars right here. And the navigation, you can see it kind of goes to the right and then there's a left. So it tries to say, oh, I gotta go to the right, so I'll go and get over. But as you can see, the turn lane for this is immediately after the hook. So it hasn't done that again. So I don't know if it updated some local map metadata to let it know how quickly it needs, or if it just is better at recognizing that those cars are waiting and it doesn't need to go around them. Again, this is on the average FSD profile. So perhaps it would behave differently on a different one. Here I'm trying to navigate it through to another reasonably decent area. But so I told it here, but then what I noticed it was doing is just going back the same way we came. It was just going to do a small little loop here and then go back the way we came. And so I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So I added another destination here in a second, but I found it kind of comical that it actually turns and goes back down that same little road we just went through to get there. So I basically just, to avoid going in the same path, I just went in a circle, and I was like, did it anyway. Oh well. So you'll see right here, it did a good job of actually when the path changed, it just hopped out of that turn lane and went along its way. Very smooth. Everything was really well handled. I really enjoy this. Coming up, this is an interesting one, I thought. My first drive at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning was right here, my first disengagement right there. The first little part of that concrete it didn't see, and so it was too close for my comfort. But now I come through the neighborhood and they've painted everything, and so the orange lines, the yellow lines, guided it around it anyway, so I didn't even get to see if it would have seen it or if there's any improvement. We won't really know. Trying to find somewhere I can route it to, so we're not just driving down the same area here. Overall, 10.3.1, I love it. Basically I'm getting the same performance I got out of the 10.3 testing I did. Didn't post a lot of that just because it's gone, and I'm not going to risk an AEB issue or have to turn it off to avoid that. I don't know if it was radar based or vision based or who was impacted, who wasn't. I'm not going to risk it. We have the 10.3.1 fixed, so this is what we moved to. Nice smooth handling of this transition. It chose a lane and got into it. It wasn't uncomfortable. I believe in the 10.2 it kind of swerved right there. Here's another issue right there. It would have on 10.2 is a clear to go boost. The very uncomfortable aggressive turn as that kind of roadway capped a little, so you almost lose traction as you're going over if you're boosting too hard. So in 10.2 it was a rather uncomfortable kind of pull out right there, but in 10.3.1 it was real smooth the way it did that. I'm surprised that it didn't go around already in those cars, but it's on the average. Perhaps on the assertive it would have gone around. I haven't had any issues with misidentified traffic signals. That's been pretty good. I think early on at 10.2 I had issues with it would push the limits on a yellow light, potentially running a red light. With production build, I've used that one for quite a long time. It always timed the yellow lights properly. I felt like it never pushed the envelope on how close it was cutting that yellow light. It either went or it was safe enough to stop that it stopped. But the beta, it can really push the envelope on how long it expects that yellow to be there before it turns red. So I did, hopefully the FSD profiles will time into that as well. It may actually mention that it does. I'll have to go back and reread that. So here's our disengagement coming up right here. we're in the left lane. There are 2 turn lanes. They are going to merge into one, but not until after we disengage. Middle of the turn, we're tracking the turn, and it started to go over the line, and so I disengaged and corrected, re-engaged. Here you saw it waited to the very last second and then nudged out aggressively out of the ending lane rather than merging in smoothly or just changing out of the turn lane there, the ending lane there, the merge in lane. I don't know why it refuses to just merge out of those cleanly. It's very good at merging when it wants to, very good at lane changes when it wants to, but it just stays in that diminishing lane until the very last second and then aggressively surges over. That's uncomfortable, and it's definitely an area that needs a little bit of improvement. Nothing they can't do. Kind of busy lunch hours. There's quite a few cars waiting around. Not much room to be more aggressive and assertive, changing lanes to speed through it. Here, I don't know why it has the upcoming lanes change to the right. It's like in 3 miles. It never puts that up that soon. I'm not sure what it's referring to about the upcoming lane change. It does change lanes before long, but nowhere else does it do that this far in advance. Usually it's getting half mile, quarter mile, and I'm starting to stress whether or not it's gonna run into a traffic situation, not be able to get over long before it decides that, oh, maybe I need to get over. But here it always puts it up there for a long time, and it'll go up and down, and if it doesn't change lanes, it'll pop up and down multiple times. But it's in the lane it needs to be in. We'll travel through, and then it's going to cut through one final little neighborhood where I have a roundabout I like to hit. Very smooth, very nice drive on a beautiful sunny day, Middle Tennessee, traveling through Murfreesboro. Good first drive for 10.3.1. I'll be looking to do things a little more challenging. Gonna head to Nashville when I can. I got some good routes that I was working on the other night before this 10.3 hit, and I'll go back and redo those with 10.3.1, and we'll be able to see how they do in comparison. Definitely some challenges that 10.2 couldn't handle. Around about, I don't know why it fully stopped at that yield. It never has at 10.2. It usually does pretty good at just going through if there's no cars. I don't know if that's a change in 10.3.1 or if there's some other scenario or reason it decided to stop there. And this is the end of our drive.